And thanks for joining us for another edition of Weekend Winners. The carnival has come and gone, the constellations for 2023, but we've still got a really strong program in front of us this weekend. 10 races, nice and early to start. Kicking off at 5:08, there's a lot of competitive racing, and that first race in particular is going to be very interesting. A number of speedsters drawn the front row over the mile, so they should be running some time. In this edition of Weekend Winners, I plan on speaking with Angus Garrard and Matty Elkins. Angus Garrard now joins us to go through his book of drives on Saturday night, and he's jumped in the hot seat. Angus, appreciate the time.
Not a problem, Chris.
Race 1 on Saturday night, good quality race. You're going to team up with Our Action Man. This is a horse that you know well, and he's fit and in form, no question about that.
Yeah, that's right. He's racing really good. He wasn't far away on Tuesday in slick time over the short, and he certainly won't disgrace himself again.
Obviously, the barrier draw is somewhat of a concern. Never easy drawing the outside of the second row over a mile.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but it's a solid race across the board, and it's probably fairly even as well, so it could generate tempo.
Just looking at it, there are a few speedsters there off the front row, so is it a case of harder the better for you?
Yeah, for sure. It's always tough to get over the top of them from a bad draw, unless they do run really hard, so... we'll be counting on some tempo, but I'm sure he'll race well.
Okay, just looking at the replay from Tuesday, he was sound in that race. They went fast time. It was a quick last half, and he kept trying right through the line.
Yeah, that's right. He's an honest horse. He runs a good race every time he goes around, and he's never too far away with the right trick.
Okay, just looking with that front row again. Northview Hustler 1, Mr. McLaren 5. Who do you think might be the leader out of that pair?
I think Northview Hustler's got the speed to hold early, but it wouldn't surprise me at all to see Mr. McLaren force his way to the top.
Are they the two that you're worried about most?
Yeah, I think so. I think Mr. McLaren's probably clearly the one to beat. 53 over the long journey last start and did it well. And, Northview Hustler's another one. He's sort of probably dropping back in grade a touch and comes up with a nice draw for probably the first time in a little while.
Okay, that's going to be a good race to start the card. Your driver's Our Action Man. Race 2, this is a good race as well. Not having a great deal of luck with the barrier draws so far. 10 and now 10 again, Classy Washington. But this has been the story with him. Very rarely comes up with a good gate.
Yeah, he doesn't have much luck in the barrier draw department at all. But, he's been racing good for a long time now, and I don't see why Saturday night will be any different.
He is Mr. Consistency, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been a super horse for us, and he's another one that just runs a good, honest race every week. And, he does seem to be improving sort of the longer he races and the more experience he has. So we can't fault him on any of his racing this time in or at home. So really pleased with him. Okay,
he's versatile as well. Couple of weeks between runs, so he's primed to run a big one here?
Yeah, I think so. That sort of tends to suit him the best at the moment, we think. Just space him out a little bit and hopefully we can keep him up for a bit longer in the long run.
All right, just looking back at that last start of his, were you surprised that American Outlaw was able to come off your back and run you down?
Oh, not really. He was racing in free-for-alls not that long ago. I think he finished pretty close up to turn it up in one there a little while ago, but he's a speedy horse and it was probably run to suit him, and he was always going to get a nice trip on our back, so it wasn't surprising, but I was wrapped with our guy. He ran his last half in 54.3. He was solo 3 and 4 wide from sort of the 600 and still fought the line really strong.
Okay, that race was a mile. It's 2,138 metres on Saturday night. What's his preferred trip in your opinion?
Look, I don't think it really matters, but I do like him at the 2,100 because I do think he's very strong. So, he showed 2 starts back. He ran his own last mile in 52 off the fence over 21. So, he can do it over both, but I do like him over the long.
Okay. Looking for dangers in this race for you on Saturday night. Rocks or Diamonds, good gate speed horse, very consistent gate 2. Red Right Hand, really impressive last time out. Do they jump off the page for you as far as dangers are concerned?
Yeah, I think they're the obvious ones. They've both been racing well and they're both going to be handier than us early. So, we probably need something just to throw a bit of a spanner into the works early and put some speed into it, and then we can make a decision later.
Okay. Well, that's Classy Washington. Let's move across to race number 5. Again, you've got a second row draw here, moving one spot in, though. Gate 9, back to Batuta. Has he been a surprise packet for the stable, or is he just delivering what you guys hoped when he first joined?
Oh, yes and no. When Graham Dwyer had him, he had good raps on him, and he sort of showed glimpses of that, but also showed he probably wasn't sort of ready to race up to his potential as well. So we've sort of taken it slow with him and let him sort of adjust to the racing and learn to be a racehorse slowly, but I think he is getting there now, and he's been really good his last couple. Yeah,
his last 5 starts in particular have been very good. He can rattle a quarter, can't he?
Yeah, he's super sharp, 2 starts ago there, he sat behind Eternal Gold and sort of pulled away real quick up the lane there over the 21. So he really is lethal off a helmet with the right trip.
So is this a good draw for him, the fact that you're 2 off the second row, you don't have to get involved early, and you can just drive him for that closing sprint?
Yeah, I think it is a good draw. We've got options, whether we stay in the running line or go to the fence. And, he, as I said, will probably drive him for his speed more than anything, so we can sort of let it unfold in front of us, keep him nice and relaxed early, and save as much as we can for late in the race.
All right. It's quite a deep race, this one. There's a couple of informed horses here.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's a good bunch of horses, as it always is in these races. So, hopefully we can be right there with them.
All right. Race number 6 on Saturday night. It's another second row draw. Gate 10 again here. Luxury Lad. You know this horse well. Does the draw make it really difficult here?
Yeah, it certainly does make it tough. He is probably a horse that likes to be up on speed, but in saying that, it's not that he can't do it off speed. He probably just needs a little bit more to go his way.
Do you want to look for the pegs here, or just sort of try and track into it late?
Oh, look, he probably likes being on the pegs, but it'll be all dependent on how the races run early. If there's super pressure in that first sort of 400 to 600, then we'll weigh up our options.
All right. Race number 8, this one for the mares. Kiang Moonshine, your first sit behind this runner trained by Richie Williams. How do you sort of gauge her sort of credentials here?
Yeah, she's pretty lightly raced, but from all reports, the stable are pretty happy with her, and I think she's pretty handy. So it does look like a step up here, but if she races up to what I think her potential is, I think she can be in it.
All right. Gate 4, is that a little bit sticky?
Yeah, it's a little bit tough. If they're happy with her come Saturday night, we've probably got to work forward a bit early and see if we can get handy, but we'll wait until then and see what happens.
Okay, it looks like it's a race that has a few chances. Magical Maya, she's a proven Group 1 winner. I know she's drawn gate 10, but is she probably the most obvious as far as class is concerned?
Yeah, I think so. I do think, as you say, she's the class runner, but gate 10 over the short can sort of bring a few undone, so we'll just see if we can get to the best spot possible, and hopefully we're there.
Sure. And again, you combine with Richie Williams in race 9. You know this mare, Bella Bronski, comes up with a nice draw, and she's got some early pace.
Yeah, it is a nice draw for her. We don't sort of have to commit to pressing hard if we don't want to, but we can probably land handy enough without doing too much. And at her best, I think she's sort of right in this race.
All right. Promised Land is facing a huge class drop, coming back from the Oaks. So is she the horse to beat?
Yeah, it looks that way. It's probably a little hard to gauge sort of the 3-year-old fillies stepping up into the sort of older mares, even in this mares quality race. But she's definitely still going to have to be good from the wide draw and over the short trip.
Yeah, it's a good point you raise. 3-year-old fillies going up against those older mares, it's never easy.
Yeah, that's right. It definitely tests them out, but I think she's shown on a New South Wales form she's probably good enough, but she's probably yet to show the real best of her in Queensland, so we'll see what turns up on Saturday.
Okay, it's a handy book of drives, a couple of rough draws though. Which one are you most looking forward to?
Always look forward to Classy Washington. He's done a super job and he's always thereabouts.
Awesome. Race 2, number 10. Hey, Angus, appreciate the time. We'll see you trackside Saturday night.
No worries. Thanks, Chris.
Matty Elkins now joins us to go through his book of drives on Saturday night, and he's jumped in the hot seat. Matty, appreciate the time.
No worries, Chris. Pleasure as always.
A couple of your own runners to start with on the weekend. Let's go to race 3, number 9, Big Skewy. Now, this guy, you've got him ticking along really well.
Yeah, nah, couldn't have been happy with sort of him over the last couple of months. It'd be lovely to come up with a barrier draw with him one day.
Now, this is a couple of weeks between runs, but that last start effort, and we'll look at the replay in just a moment, that was a really good run. Bad draw, gate 7, fast run race, but he picked off quite a few late. It was a real eye-catching effort.
Yeah, sort of he missed last week with sort of no racing on the Saturday night, but yeah, he couldn't have done any more. He just sort of lacks a little bit of change-up speed when they quicken at times, but once he gets out and rolling, you know, he just sort of stay all day.
Okay, how do you sort of line up the opposition that you're opposed to here on the weekend?
Yeah, it's obviously a pretty good race. Every time the extra money goes up to 20k, you know, all the better ones come out. But in saying that, I think if the race is run to suit, he's well into that.
Okay, do you think you're going to get a genuine tempo in this race, looking at that front line?
I think so, you know, with Beach Filler there, it probably looks the leader, and sort of when it's stamped urgent off the gate, it's normally a pretty good run race. So, you know, if we can sort of get a 27, 29 first half, I'm sure he'll be getting into the money late.
All right, so the faster the better for you?
Yeah, for sure. You know, a couple of times he probably didn't do a lot. I think they might have went 55-ish, but sort of those nights I've gone 51 and 52, he just sort of loves it up the straight and picks a few off.
Okay, it's a mile on the weekend. Is this his pet trip, or he can stretch it out to 2100?
It doesn't really worry. I have sort of been wanting to get him over the 2100, but there's sort of not been many options to go to the 21 lately. So just been at the miles, but you know, if they run it to suit, it sort of suits him as well, I think.
Okay, good chance there, Big Skewy. Let's go across to race 5. Another one of your own runners here, Midnight Calm. On paper, this is an ideal draw, but is there a chance that you could get sort of pushed back on the inside here?
Yeah, I think we'll probably be 3 fence, and I'll be happy with that if we're 3 fence. I think he still gets his chance from there.
Yeah, if he's anywhere near his best, he can still win easily from 3 fence.
Yeah, I think so. I think even being drawn where we are instead of 1, you know, it probably limits that early burn. So it may nearly be a better trip from 3 fence. And, you know, he's sort of had a bit go wrong over the last couple of months, but his heat run was really good, sitting 3 fence, and it probably sets up much the same here.
Okay, so has he trained on since the heat run?
Yeah, really happy with him, Chris. He's sort of, every time we get into a good money race, he seems to have a bit of an issue. So been walking out every morning, waiting and looking, but no, he all seems good, and track work's been outstanding.
All right, so how frustrating is that then, that when these better money races rolled around, there's just that little bit of an issue?
Yeah, been very frustrating, but at the same time, he was a next to nothing buy out of Tasmania, and he sort of exceeded all expectations pretty early on, but I guess saying that, he set the bar pretty high and been a bit frustrating since.
Okay, this field on Saturday night, it should be a very competitive race. There's no real standout. There's a few there going well, Waterroller, Umami, no doubt, but there's quite a few that are capable with a little bit of luck.
Yeah, it's a pretty even field. I just think the way the map probably sets up, if Umami's in front, it's low flying at the moment, and Waterroller's probably racing at his best again too. So, you know, the draw's favourable probably for those 3 runners, and hopefully it's a 1, 2, 3 fence and we can get in on the action.
All right, well, that's Midnight Calm there in race number 5. Race 7, this is a good quality 2-year-old race. Again, good prize money up for grabs, so they've come from near and far. Take a chance. You've been with this guy pretty much all the way through. He never puts in a bad one.
No, I love this little guy. He seems to get better every time he comes out to the races, and I think he just had a little freshen up after his most recent run, so I'm expecting him to come back probably a bit smarter and a bit sharper again.
Okay, the draw, it's not ideal. It's not the end of the world in saying that, but it just makes your job a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, that's it. Sort of hard to give away a start in such even 2-year-old fields, but in saying that, he doesn't possess a lot of gate speed anyway, so it's not the end of the world drawing out wide. We just got to rely on a few things to go our way.
Are you mindful that it could be a leader behind leader scenario here? Delhi Row 1, Balboa Rock 8?
Yeah, they probably look the picks with the draw, you know. Throw any of these horses in 1 and 8 and they're probably the on-top selections. So I guess in 2-year-old races, the maps are always a little funny to work out. Some horses run the gate for the first time, and we just got to hope there's a bit of genuine tempo.
I'm tipping you would have loved 1 or 8 with this guy.
Yeah, it would have been handy and made it a lot easier, but in saying that, you know, he's got the triad coming up, and it's probably not a bad starting point anyway.
All right, and just on the triad with this guy, he's going to be more than competitive, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. You know, he's proved that he's got better and better, and his heat run here in the Group 1 race here was good, and he was again super in the final in a slow run race, and he's probably his last start was the pick of mine for me. He sort of left a little flat-footed and just got a little bit funny gated around the corner, but once he balanced up and straightened, he sort of went from going to run 4th or 5th to nearly picked them off and won the race.
Yeah, it was a good effort last time out. Race number 8 for the mares, our Modern Mini. You know this mare well. She's more than capable. How do you assess her chances?
Yeah, she probably needs the draw in this grade. She is racing well, but she's another one that just needs an evenly run tempo, I think. I think in this grade she probably can't be forcing it to make it genuine, but just needs a genuine tempo to be running home.
Early thoughts, are you likely to go forward or just grab straight up?
We'll probably look to go back there, I'd say.
Okay, that's our Modern Mini. Race 9, another race for the mares, and I'm keen to get your thoughts here. Sea Lover. Her effort last time out was good. How do you sort of rate her?
She's actually got ability. Dad sort of keeps telling me every week how good she's working, but she's sort of one that's come up from Bush, Victoria, South Australia, and she's actually got a bit of a motor, I think, but just sort of lacking a bit of change of foot at the moment. She probably did race like that down there, and just taking a little bit of time for her to adapt to it. But her run here on Monday night, she was sort of 3 wide from the bell and 2:28 quarters, and she probably just goes the same speed from the bell as she does to the finish. Doesn't get much quicker, but definitely doesn't get any slower.
So is this draw a good draw in a way for her?
Yeah, it's not too bad there. I do think the day we can roll forward with the chair on her, you'll probably see the best side of her. But obviously in this sort of race, it may generate good tempo, I'm hoping, and we can sort of look to come late.
All right, there's a couple of mares in good form off the front row. Promise Land's on the big class drop, coming back from the Queensland Oaks. But as I mentioned earlier, it's not easy for a 3-year-old filly going up against these older and more seasoned mares.
No, definitely not. And there kind of looks to be a few that might roll their sleeves up early and go forward. Alexia Rose out wide. So, you know, if the tempo is genuine enough, she can be in it, or if they look to back off, we may look to put her into the race.
All right, some good drives for you there on Saturday night. Which one at this stage are you most looking forward to?
Well, we don't want to jinx him again. We've jinxed him a few times, but we'll go with Midnight Calm and fingers crossed.
Righto, race 5, number 8, Midnight Calm it is. Matty, as always, appreciate the time. We'll see you trackside.
No worries, thank you.
As always, a big thanks to our drivers, Angus, Garrard, Matt Elkins. We wish them the best of luck on Saturday night. Time now to find a good thing or two, and I think right in the middle of the program, the first leg of the main quaddie, I'm keen on the chances of number 1, What a Roller. A last start feature race winner during the carnival, taking the JC McMullen. I see no reason why he can't go back to back. He was good winning that feature race last time out. Comes up with the same draw, gate 1. It's the same trip, 1 mile. And I think he's going to be in the right spot just like he was last time out. So I think he goes back to back. Race 5, number 1, What a Roller, marking him as the best bet on the program. Remembering, if you are gambling this weekend, please do so responsibly. We've got a 10-race program. As I said, all the stars of the carnival have gone home, the bulk of them anyway, but it's still a very competitive night on Saturday night. Our first race kicks off at 5:08.